Thank you for downloading this Intrepid English podcast. I'm Gemma, and today we're going to talk about Burns Night. Before we get started, there's some useful vocabulary that you'll need to know. Comprise, verb, to include. Ode, noun, a lyric poem, typically one in the form of an address to a particular subject. Critically acclaimed, phrase, a piece of work that has received generally good reviews from a number of critics. Bagpipes, noun, a traditional Scottish musical instrument. Here in Scotland, the 25th of January is a day for celebration. Why? It's because our most famous poet, Robert Burns, was born on this day. Robert Burns lived from 1759 to 1796 and wrote many poems that are still famous today. Every year on the 25th of January, it's tradition in Scotland to hold a party to celebrate the contribution Burns made to Scottish culture. We have a special meal called a Burns supper, which traditionally comprises haggis, neeps, mashed turnips, and tatties, mashed potatoes. Haggis is a Scottish dish made from the heart, lungs, and liver of a sheep and cooked using the animal's stomach. It sounds horrible, but you might be surprised at how tasty it really is. Usually, the haggis is carried into the dining room on a silver plate and musicians play the bagpipes. Then, someone will perform the poem Address to a Haggis. This is a poem by Burns about his love for haggis. At the end of the poem, the performer cuts the haggis with a special knife. It's very dramatic. We eat our haggis with a wee dram of whiskey. Wee is the Scottish word for little, and a dram is a small amount of whiskey. After the meal, there are more poems. A poet usually writes and performs a tribute to Robert Burns. It can be a daunting prospect for the poet to write an ode to such a famous poet, but the audience always appreciates it with a round of applause. Other guests at the Burns supper can read some poems that Robert Burns wrote too. Robert Burns was not only a critically acclaimed poet, he also wrote song lyrics, and most Burns suppers include music with songs that he wrote. Then it's time to dance. When we have a party with traditional Scottish dances, we call it a céilí, spelled C-E-I-L-I-D-H. Most of the dances at a céilí are fast and fun. Sometimes the dances are a bit confusing, but the musicians will teach the audience the necessary moves before each dance begins. If it is still confusing, it doesn't matter, because the most important thing at a céilí is to have fun. If you're in Scotland in January, we recommend going to a Burns supper so that you can experience it yourself. If you visit at a different time of year, you can still try some haggis and even join a céilí. We guarantee it's an experience you will never forget. If you're a fan of Scotland and the Scottish culture, several of our Intrepid English teachers are based in the beautiful Scottish capital city of Edinburgh, and we love to tell interested students about this amazing city. Fun fact: Auld Lang Syne is sung around the world at New Year, but did you know that the words of the song were written by Robert Burns? This blog was written and recorded by Intrepid English teacher Gemma. Find out more about me on my Intrepid English teacher profile page. If you have any questions or you would like to request a topic for a future blog, you can contact us at intrepidenglish.co.uk or email lorraine@intrepidenglish.co.uk. Book a free trial lesson today and talk about your learning goals with an experienced and friendly English teacher. Say goodbye to boring English lessons. The Intrepid English Academy has been designed to make it as clear and as easy as possible for you to make progress in English. All new members will receive a free one-to-one lesson with your chosen English teacher to discuss your learning needs. You will then be given a personalised success path with recommended courses to work on the areas of English that you most need to master.